This is Facebook Live 134. Michael Cole in search of awesome. I can't wait to introduce you to Rachelle Oyola tonight. Rags to Riches Instagrammer. I absolutely love her story. She's from Studio RK, Fort Myers, Florida. My good buddy, Summit Coach Michael Nicholas he's one of the best, as you guys know. So he's doing some good things down there. And before we bring her on, let me tell you why I invited her. I think she's blown it up. I think she's doing some things that are unprecedented. She starts at Studio RK somewhere in 2016 as an associate. Are you guys ready for this? Her first full year behind the chair W2 57952. That's called big boom boom to the 10th power. I don't know that we've had one that high first year behind the chair. So she's doing something magical. You better have your damn, ultrasound hearing aids on tonight, Jackie B. W2 2018, she's trending 85. So she's going just this side of 60 to 85, 36 hours a week. She's a level 4A in her second year. I mean, this is just amazing behind the chair. She's 30 something, average service day $800, average service ticket 129. Woman's haircut 64. Do the math. She's running at a solid 2.0. Referrals 100 plus. Rebooking 95%. I mean, it's like I'm getting goosebumps as I'm reading you guys her stats, and her RTS is at 13 points. Now, she's going to tell you her story. She graduates high school in '01. She goes out, do a little bit of life, as she'll catch you up on that. 2015, she makes the decision to go to cosmetology school, graduates, and that's the big pivot in her life. She starts working at Studio RK as a salon associate in 2016. In 17, she goes from level 1 to level 3 and starts working with her first associate. That's her first full year behind the chair, you guys. And as I said, smoked it at 58, level 4, 4AA. That she's on her way there, and she's trending. I'm sorry, level 4 to 4A, and she's trending 85 thou. Now, social media, as you'll see, is, she had a bonfire going to begin with, but social media is like super nitroglycerin. I absolutely love her Instagram page. She's going to give us a little bit of a conversation. She got a couple of cool keys that I think you're going to find to be interesting. Here by Rachello, Rachelleo, at here by Rachello. That's her Instagram handle. iPhone 8 Plus. Just under 500 followers, 50% of her guests are following her, and virtually 100% of her referrals come from social. So she does about 25 guests in a typical week. She really is taking advantage of that. As you can see, 10 to 12 of her high tickets that have a presence on Instagram. She engages them in a photo shoot. I mean, it's really thorough. You probably 15, 20 pictures per shoot. You're going to see as you scroll her page, she uses two backgrounds, white as well as green. And 100% of her guests are reposting pictures that she submits to them, and or taking selfies. And of course, they're tagging Rachelle so that she can follow up on those friends that are making comments on that content. So we got her in the green room. We're gonna go and get her. She's gonna tell you a little bit about her story, some of her keys. So keep your fingers crossed that the Wi-Fi gods are behaving themselves tonight, and we'll see where she's at. And here's give it up for her, will you guys? Did you hear me bragging on you?
Yeah.
Oh, I thank you. I know you had a long day, and it's late, and you're in Florida, so you're well after 9 o'clock. Thanks for coming on.
No, thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Well, listen, I always like to start with the story, and your story is extraordinary. So get us started. What was Rachelle's life before it changed back in the early days? I know that you've been on an extraordinary ride. So get us started.
So before I decided to go to school, here we go. I found myself pregnant with my second kid. I had a 4-year-old. A week after I found out I was pregnant, my husband left and never came back. And I made a decision. We had 2 months before that, we had moved back to Michigan. So I felt like my best bet was to be back in Florida with my parents. So I packed my car with what I could fit in it, and me and my 4-year-old drove back to Florida. And I felt like the best way for me to take care of my kids was to go back to hair school and to get my license and do hair. And I felt like that was the best thing for us to do. So then I started beauty school shortly after.
So your story is extraordinary because it's a sacred story of single parent, and the marriage doesn't work out. X gets on with his life, so it's you and your child, and so you're like you're awake, you're on purpose. You decide to go to hair school, and then some really cool stuff starts happening to you. What happened to make the difference? I'm getting goosebumps now. Like where was the pivotal points in your life?
Well, I knew someone that had worked at Studio Arcade previously, and they kind of talked it up to me. I had never been here, I never really knew anything about it because I didn't really know Florida that well. But for whatever reason, in my mind, I had to be in that salon. And I felt like that's where I could make a living to support my kids on my own because I was not going to get help from my ex-husband. So I felt like that was where I needed to be.
Yeah, I mean that'll get you purposeful in a hurry, where you know that as a single mom, after me the earth drops off, baby, and so you're like doc lock ready to rock. And what a salon! I'm getting goosebumps that you couldn't have scored any better to go into Studio RK. We're gonna have their leadership on in a little bit, but that place is magical, Rachelle, as you know.
Yes,
Um,
I do.
so
Very
what
great.
what happened there? What you had this big aha cataclysmic awakening. What was that?
So the big aha was I was Rachel's associate, who you're familiar with. And Rachel, I don't know if she noticed that I was struggling a little bit with trying to figure out how I was going to make it work because before I came to Studio RK, I was getting $300 a month in cash assistance. And that's how I lived to go through school because it was either work full time in a dead end job or go to school full time and get a little assistance to do that. So when I started here, I think she felt that from me and she shared with me what she was making after so many years behind the chair. And when I saw what her income was, I wanted what she had. And so I told her, I'm coming for you and I want what you have. And so I just did everything she told me. She told me all the time, it might not seem like it, but everything I'm telling you to do is going to pay off in the end. There's a reason behind it. And so I listened to what she said and now here I am.
So this is a woman through a conversation with you, and then of course you're watching her, and she becomes your vision. So that
Yes.
conversation that was your awakening. And again, give her first and last name so that the world knows who is this human being that changed Rochelle's life.
Rachel Pravanek.
Yeah, and so you were her associate,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and it sounded like that was your definable moment, the big bang, the grand aha, and the rest is history.
Yeah, because I knew that I could make a decent living doing hair. I didn't realize how good of a living I could make until she shared that with me, and I was like, "Oh, it's on now! Like here we go."
Yeah, it's almost like she takes you on. And what's really extraordinary about this, Rochelle, is, you had walked through a divorce, and your ex kind of goes off the radar screen, and you're on government assistant. So
Yeah.
this is called impoverished. So this is
Yeah.
a definable moment in your life, and she has this conversation with you, and it's an awakening. And so I showed the people your stats, and
Yeah.
and you're 24, 36 months later, it's almost like you're diametrically opposite. You're in a whole different universe now. My God.
Yeah. It's totally different.
So what do you say? What's your life like now? I can't even wrap my mind around where you were to where you're at now. What's it like to be Rochelle?
Pretty amazing. I don't get any sort of assistance. No, not even state insurance for my kids. Everything is on me. And my kids have opportunities that I didn't think they could have. Honestly, my biggest fear was them being a statistic, and I didn't want that to happen. And now they're not. I mean, they both do gymnastics. I'm at every event. I'm at school events. I don't miss anything. If anything, they're a little bit too spoiled. So it's totally different than what it was before.
Yeah, yeah, they deserve to be spoiled, and so do you. Nice. Now, where do you go from here? I mean, you're on in mid 30 something. Like, what's next for Rachelle?
Take over Studio Arcade. No, I'm just kidding. No, I want to be a level 7 at the top, and I want to potentially be a shareholder one day. So that's my goal. I mean, whatever I have to do to get there, I'm gonna do.
Now, after the interview, you got to go and read some of these comments. I mean, we've got people on here saying, "I can relate to her story so much." Somebody else says, "This is such an inspiration." Somebody else says, "You go get him, girl. Way to go." So I believe that you're really a vision tonight on what's possible when somebody has the courage to step up and say, "You know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I see an opportunity," and you just like ran at it at Mach 5.
Yeah.
Now, what's your last word? As people that are at where you were, and they're like going to be watching this, and they're going, "Okay, so like in a nutshell, what might you say to them that might raise the probability that someday they're standing where you're standing?"
I would say first that you need to get yourself a coach and a mentor that's going to push you, not just coddle you, and be willing to put in the work. I mean, I was working extra days coming in when, to do an opening for a client if I didn't have something else. So just be willing to do whatever it takes to get there.
Nice, nice. Well, we've got probably, I don't know, 5 minutes or so to kind of pivot over. I just think you're doing some really cool, simple but potent stuff on Instagram. So, what's your first key? And as you talk us through it, I might bring people to your page so that they can see what you're saying.
Okay. So what I first want to talk about is that I like to post a variety of clients, a variety of hair, so that people don't feel like I can only do one thing. They're able to see that I can do shortcuts, balayage, highlights, mature hair. So it's just more well-rounded, and people can see that through my page instead of trying to guess if I can do something that they're looking for.
And I just love this, and it's really your big picture. It's your dossier, your portfolio, your digital lookbook. How often would you say that you would be having this in your hands as a guide to go to take your guests through your consultation?
Every consultation, I break out my Instagram.
I want to make sure that our viewers hear this. So every consultation that Rachelle does, she's now using her Instagram page to guide her through that experience, to give her guest a kind of a social digital experience in consultation. Yes?
Yes. And
Now,
and and that's the point of being well-rounded. So you're able to show every type of client something that they're looking for so that you're on the same page. If you don't have that, then you can't show them.
and are there times, Rochelle, where your guest might have their mobile out and they're on a Pinterest, they're on Pinterest with a randomly placed picture, and if that's the case, how do you get them off of that and into this?
Well, let me show you some of the work that I've done, and then just kind of pop it open and show them, well, here's one that I did that's very similar to that. And then we start talking about my page versus being on Pinterest.
Yeah, I mean, I just absolutely love what you're saying there. So you affirm whatever picture that they're compelled to show you and go, wonderful. Let me bring you to my page and bring you to that place where and show you the work that I'm doing that's synced up to yours.
Mhm.
Nice, beautiful. So your second key on Instagram with photo shoots and your range of looks and what you're doing with your page. What's that about?
So I try to do photo shoots on everybody if I can. If I'm not able to, then, at least every other person. And I'm making sure that I'm taking a wide range of photos too. And I'm always changing my Instagram and the look of it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the quotes I'm now when I'm out in the world, you're one of the pages that I'm showing, and I'm saying that this is always your work in progress. You're always refining your Instagram page. It's become your asset, your big picture. So it's like how can like I'm paraphrasing you now. How can I make it better and keep it going?
Well, with just changing it all the time and making sure that you have that range of looks. And also, like, as I evolve, my Instagram evolves. So you can kind of see that if you, starting from the bottom and going now where I am, I'm showing that through my Instagram.
Now I'm actually now on your highlights, and you've got a blonde highlight, and it looks like you've got. I just absolutely love your slide presentation, and you've got one for blondes and brunettes, and I'm showing this as I'm talk about that, and when your guests see that, and how is that serving you?
Well, it just helps, like I said before, allowing clients to know what my range of ability is. Because sometimes if you're not showing it, they don't think you can do it. So here's an option for them to go and say, I want to be like a warm blonde. Well, if my page is full of cool blondes, they don't think that I could do a warm blonde. Well, in that, it shows kind of every tone of blonde, different tones of brunettes, creative colors, if they want something a little funkier, fashion colors. So it kind of just shows, it's like a presentation of myself without them even meeting me.
I love this. Now, I'm assuming that there's times where your guest might be looking at that when they're online going through your page, but in terms of the highlights file, are there times where your guest is with you in real time? Maybe they're processing, maybe they're waiting for you, where they're kind of looking at your either your blonde highlights, your brunettes, your creative color, and if so, how does that change up the conversation that you're having with them?
I've actually had a couple of people that a lot of them do love to do social media when you're in their when they're in your chair and they're processing. But when they're on my Instagram, I've actually had them change in a way something slightly different that they were liking better just by kind of going through that, or if they want to elaborate on what we discussed we're doing, so now they want to maybe change it up a little bit. But I've had a lot of people too share that with their friends. Oh, I saw this really cool look on here. I know you were looking for a change, or I know you were looking for a highlight, and then that promotes me without me promoting myself.
Absolutely, Rachelle. Now, we're almost out of time, but I'm just guided to check in with you on this. As I look at your page, I just get a sense that the big picture is you're always attempting to looking at the full page, making that page more and more awesome, because now that it's just not about, oh, I'm what am I going to post today, but what am I posting and how is it going to round out my page, because there's just now on a continual basis your guests, when they're in, they're looking at your page, and as they look at the whole page, it's a credibility builder. They're looking at you and going, my God,
Well,
she's
they're noticing that. I've had people point that out to me, that I love how your page has evolved. I've seen how much it's changed. So it is like that. And then they're seeing too that my work is evolving. As I'm evolving, my page is evolving to show that.
I love, yeah, and not only, yeah, your work, but you're evolving now into photography. You've become
Yeah.
as much of a photographer as you are a
Mhm.
hairdresser. And now you're when you start moving into highlights, you're beginning to even evolve as a videographer.
Yeah, this is true. My
So
eye has gotten a lot better.
yeah, and so there's times where I'm sure your first time guests or referrals in the room waiting for you to come and greet them, and as they're waiting, they're browsing your page, and this is like a credibility builder on steroids here. So I
Yeah.
really want to congratulate you on how you're kind of pioneering. Yeah, I would consider you a real innovator on Instagram, and it's just the interview that we've done tonight is it's simple, and yet it's very ingenious. So it's simply genius.
Well, thank you.
Well, listen, we're out of time. I want to stay close to you because I have a feeling you're just warming up, and I follow you now. You're on my news feed, so I'd like to after sometime next year check in with you and see if you're ready for an encore.
All right, sounds good to me.
All right. Well, listen, we're gonna give it up for you one more time. And I'm gonna let you go so that I can kind of summarize the meeting on this extraordinary tutorial. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Give it up for her one more time, you guys. The that whole deal was just a remarkable interview, and I want to see if I can take you back to some of the things that she said, because I think that it was extraordinary. Now, first of all, just her story alone was, I think, off the charts. I mean, here we got, divorced while she's on the front end, and it's her. Like she's a single parent. So after her, the earth drops off, and she decides to go to hair school. But that definable moment as an associate, and she's with her educator, and her educator mentors her and says, "Look, Rachelle, that there is so much more potential for you than you could possibly fathom." And that educator became her mentor, her vision of what was possible. And she took that story, she took it to heart and her soul, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, boom, boom is right. I mean, look at this, you guys. For those of you that joined us, she starts as an associate in 2016, and her first full year behind the chair is just this side of $60,000. I don't know that we've had somebody on the program with a first full year behind the chair at that, and I think she goes from associate to like level 3 in that year. And then this year she starts working with she's now a 4A. She goes from 4 to 4A, and this year she's trending 85,000. And it would not surprise me at all if she's working with a couple of associates in 2019 and a shareholder. Studio RK, by the way, is just, I can count on 2 or 3 fingers. The salon companies that I follow, and Studio RK is just one of them. So I think she's extraordinary. I absolutely loved what she shared with us tonight on her Instagram page. I would strongly recommend following her. I love her highlights. I love the idea that her Instagram page is her big picture. She uses it continuously in the salon, in her consultations. When her guests are waiting for her to go out and greet them, they're browsing her page, and it's a rapid credibility builder for her. And we've been talking about this in the last several conversations that I've had with you in tutorials. So the interview tonight, I think, was extraordinary. I think you need to give it up for her one more time. Will you guys? Now, if you're new to us, I always like to end by just welcoming you to to our community. This is Michael Cole Summit is my handle on Facebook. That's the channel you're on tonight. This channel has become, we believe, the social media learning channel for people that are in the salon or the spa. And with, like tonight, what was it, a 34th or 35th interview. So hang out on this page. This is going to live on this page for a while, and then we will edit it. We'll put it back on the page. All of the interviews are edited and uploaded on the Summit Salon YouTube page. And if you went to YouTube and just plugged in Michael Cole Summit, it would bring you to some of those YouTube, some of those interviews. So we have a whole library, and this is all for free. There's no darn reason why you shouldn't be on that at all. My Instagram handle is the same. I'm blogging on both these pages several times a day. So I really want you to I invite you to hang out. If you're new to us, our .com is summitsalon.com. This is just to hang out on that page on your mobile device, and there's just some really cool places for you to go. We have our school division, Summit Salon Academy. Go to our product page, because on our product page we have some really cool products. We've got our social digital planner. We've got our textbook. We have you can scroll down to our mobile calculator page, and we now have calculators where you can set your annual personal income goal, and it translates it all the way down to a day goal behind the chair. So these are all wonderful plays for you to make. We are really excited about our social digital boot camp. It's a virtual training program. You sign up, it's only a couple $100, and you sign up for it. There's 4 90-minute webinars over 4 weeks. There's some homework assignments that you have in between that, and it's all about getting you started on social media. You're part of a secret group on Facebook with 20 other people. our boot camp facilitators blog on that daily. I'm a guest on that program as well. I follow, I engage with people, but you're in a classroom, a virtual classroom, and you're posting what you're doing. You're looking and watching what other people are doing, and we're engaging in social about what we're doing in social media. So call us on our 800 number or get on our website, and they'll give you more information about that as well. We also have a digital tracker that's free. You can download that, and it's perfectly paired up to the level charts of our level system. So we would invite you to do that as well. I always like to end by saying thank you to our sponsors, L'Oreal PPD, Professional Product Divisions. Here are their brands. We've got Redken, we've got Pureology, we have Matrix, we have L'Oreal Professional, we have Baxter, Essie, Kerastase, Mazzani, Shoe, all of the greats. So anytime you are really supporting those products, that company supports us, and their financial support allows us to continue to do this for you and have you access. So please express gratitude by supporting the brands. Salon Centric is the distribution arm of L'Oreal PPD, as is State Beauty Supply and RDA Promar. So thank you to those guys. And last but not least, Summit Salon Business Center, all of our partners. We have just this side of 100 coaches. So get to know us, invite us in, make us the next era of your life where you can continue to be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So it was a great program. We'll see you next week for our next guest. And as I always do, I say thank you and good night.